Hi, I'm Shakti Durga. Welcome to the Goddess Speaks podcast. This is a collection of discourses from the ancient goddess Artha, containing spiritual energy and activations and discussions of those discourses. I hope that the teachings are beneficial to you on your personal journey of enlightenment. And taking a deep breath in as you settle yourself and prepare to listen to the goddess Artha. Namaste, beloved ones. Thank you for hearing the call and attending to this most interesting spiritual path that is being co-created by the consciousness of each one of you. It is heartening to see the devotion that each of you have to the path of spirituality and the richness of the desire that lives within your hearts for the divine experience, for the bliss of the divine. The speed with which humanity rediscovers their divine origins and becomes one with the consciousness of divine, little by little, peak experience by peak experience, integration by integration. All of this is under the control of the human, and the divine takes note of each and every human, all of the billions of humans that have existed, and those who are presently upon the earth. And for each one, the divine has assigned the presence of angelic beings, guardian and guiding beings to watch over, protect, and nurture. And these beings serve tirelessly to assist each and every human from the moment of conception until the removal of the soul from the body is complete and the soul has journeyed back to its home realm. And even at this time, those guardian and guiding lights and angelic beings are there to greet and reassure each soul as the transition from being embodied to being disembodied can only ever be experienced as somewhat of a surprise. The nature of consciousness is at the root of the study that you are engaged within. Consciousness can never be seen in its totality, but like a waterfall coming from a place that seems to move further away from you the higher you climb it, so it is that the very design of creation always places the flow of light and consciousness in a way that is unending. There is no beginning to the stream of consciousness, and nor will there be an end. The metaphor of a circle is a good way to understand the phenomena of consciousness, but consciousness itself is beyond any real description. And we do not want you to have the concrete consciousness of some form of circle limiting you to the more expansive visions that can from time to time be shared with you. The sheer size of the circle of which we speak would go beyond your solar system and beyond the neighboring solar systems. And so it is a vast thing compared to the size of a human. And so one need not be troubled by the thought of there being no beginning and no end, and that this could be seen as a vast circle. But it is also a safety mechanism for the human mind to feel that no matter how far we fly high in consciousness, we will never pop out at the end and find ourselves in some kind of limbo land. You can never go further than the light. However, as you travel into the light, understand that the light has a voltage, and the brighter the light, the stronger the voltage will be. Your system, being embodied as human, has as its base an electromagnetic infrastructure. And this electromagnetic body cannot be destabilized by the flow of light. And thus, incremental changes to the flow are the optimal changes. And this will be within the setting of peak experiences as you yourself have already experienced. Not only is your physical body, your physiology, rooted into electromagnetic realities, but so is the astral body, the etheric body, and even the soul itself. It is made out of energy. It is made out of consciousness. And the electromagnetic energy flows through this consciousness, creating forms. And these forms are intricate and they are geometric. And at times the geometry seems to be frayed. And the fraying of the geometry gives rise to incarnations in the physical world. The fraying of the geometry of light of the soul gives rise to the incarnations that you are now experiencing. There is something undone for you to contribute your time, your energy, and your focus to the doing of that which will create wonderful electromagnetic charges going back to your higher soul. And whilst it is no doubt true in your hearts as well as in the eternal play, that there is a level of the soul that is even beyond the form of light and geometry. That part of your soul is so inchoate that to even speak of it as self is a misunderstanding, for it is the one in all. The part of the soul of which this discourse is directed is the part that evolves, has a personality, has preferences, has strengths, has patterns of experience over time. And those patterns of experience over time give rise to stunning harmonics, for your soul is not just geometry of light, but also geometries of sound. It is a frustration to the human condition that it does appear as though some things are insoluble, that the same patterns occur again and again, and whilst the work is directed at these patterns of which you are all aware within your own beings, some seem unable to be resolved. That is not the highest level of truth, but it is a practical level of truth. That you are playing out certain geometries and frequencies emanating from your soul, and they will become perfected, and there will be no more fraying in that part of the geometry of your soul when you play the divine Leela of this part of a cycle in accordance with the divine laws. And you will recall from your study of the divine laws that such matters as flow, non-attachment, non-judgment, the law of economy, and the law of correspondence are all relevant to one's experience of life, providing you with the truth of your tasks in life, that to the ego, the reasserting of control over one's circumstance is the purpose of life, to have the solid foundation of time and money. This is the purpose of life, to have control and security. to have the freedom to do what I want and not be told what to do. But from the perspective of the soul, this is all Leela. For there is an abiding universal law that flows through all beings, and all of the Leelas and classrooms created by the divine, all of the plays of consciousness within which you find yourself, are constructed by the energetic charge of the combination of all spiritual laws operating as one. And this is the Dharma. It is this to which you are directed in consciousness, and this study will probably take around 5 to 10 years of Earth time. The teachings of the Dharma require a steadfastness and commitment to one's spiritual path as the central part of life. And the teachings cannot be given as one because of the various forms of fraying of the consciousness of the higher soul that you are here to resolve. But it is not control over that will resolve these things, but flowing with Dharma. And the many, many levels, intricate levels, sometimes you may say confusing cross currents of Dharma are presented to you. And it is difficult at times to appreciate what the truth of Dharma might be. But all will be revealed, and the points of confusion are merely the classroom of the moment. And one may approach such a classroom at any vibration. One may be curious, one may be excited, one may feel shame, or any of the many realms of vibration that are open to the human condition. Any of them can be the place at which you meet a Dharmic classroom. It is also true that many of the classrooms have been presented already and some have gone unobserved, as one cannot, in all consciousness and even in conscience as it develops, appreciate that there is even a wrong to be righted, because we are so unaware whilst embodied in the human condition. But as your consciousness is drawn towards a particular topic, it becomes more visible to you. And the vast potentials of the future will part in such a way that this will be more of the landscape for the coming years. For truly, beloveds, the fabric of that which separates you from the rest of creation, and which is called your ego, is comprised of matter and non-physical substance that responds to Dharma. And the final freeing of the bondage of reincarnation and the permanent diamond light of consciousness to which you are working is enlivened and empowered by the further appreciation of Dharma over time and experience. There are times when this will appear to be frustrating or too exacting or splitting hairs or hard work or requiring surrender. And all of that is no doubt true. But it is the narrow road through which moksha becomes possible for beings in the human condition. And whilst this is a journey that continues in the afterlife, the deep and profound satisfaction for your soul and for those souls who have been able to work out the bondage of Dharma within the life, there is such exaltation and such general, universal celebration because it is rare. It is most often the case with the human souls that the final portions of their remembrance of the fullness of themselves happens in planes other than the physical. There is an ocean, an army of souls who near the nadir of their existence to come back into the oneness again with a consciousness of the whole of creation. And this work proceeds beyond your mind, beyond your consciousness, but within the consciousness of the loving heart of the divine. Such beings are able to be called upon for their treasury of wisdom, for this portion of incompleteness is the creativity of the divine and of each soul. When the incompleteness ceases, so does the creative power of the soul. For to be perfected means then to be static. But some souls choose this, for their then focus becomes the veneration of the divine within that consciousness and the everlasting bliss that is attributed to one such as Lord Jesus, who is said to sit at the right hand of the Father. And at the right hand is the Kabbalistic Sephirah of Binah, which is the container of all things supernal. And thus Lord Jesus is the container of all things supernal. It did not say sit beside the divine, but was specific about the right hand. Binah is the container from which flows a river of goodness. And this too is your destiny. And souls will choose the level of attainment that they desire. And one should not think that these things are cookie cutter, for the individuation between souls is part of the beauty of the divine plan. Even though the Dharma becomes something that links all souls and becomes a joy for all to behold. And breathing in these words and let the vibration come into your heart and crown chakra to open new paradigms for you of opportunity whilst you enjoy this blessed life. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Goddess Speaks. If so, please share it with your friends and your family so they can benefit too. If you'd like to connect with me, visit my website, shaktidurga.com.